Hi there, my name's James and welcome to R&R, the show where I react to and review some of the latest and greatest music videos. Today I'm going to be checking out New York by Tash Sultana. So let's get to it.
Anywhere the wind blows, it doesn't really matter, 'cause it all just ends the same. But I just keep on giving while you just keep on taking out. You don't wanna face the blame. The things we try to hide just to make us feel better, and you just keep me waiting while I could take forever. Pulling up in pieces just to put me back together.
So far, a minute in, a nice selection of sounds. I'm liking the sort of lead electric piano sound. It's really nice and lush and complements Tash's vocal very well. There's also that sort of higher pitched kind of synthesizer sound happening, adding kind of a bit of a counter melody. And then we've got the drums as well, of course, sort of quite big, fat, very dry, hip-hop style. Just kind of loosely pushing the song along, adding some extra emphasis on the rhythm. I will say Tash's voice sounds a bit different, a bit off. I do have an inkling there's some quite heavy pitch correction going on. It just sounds a little bit too perfect, and some of those notes, kind of the tail ends of certain notes, the sustain of certain notes, you can kind of just hear that auto-tune pitch correction kind of wobbling happening. However, it might just be a modulation effect that they've put on there to add some interesting flavor or texture. Kind of hard to tell. And some very nice subtle backing vocals coming in here and there. As for the video clip, so far it's pretty low effort. There's not a whole lot going on compared to Tash's previous video clip. It's just, so far, a little bit lackluster.
Cover me in sugar just to get me through the night. Kisses sweet as candy, girl, you know I'll be alright. Jumping off the moon, baby, it'll be a time. Chase the New York City skyline. Cover me in sugar just to get me through the night. Kisses sweet as candy, girl, you know I'll be just fine. Driving at 1,000 miles so I can see the light. Chase the New York City skyline. New York, New York.
So we get a chorus there. Again, that sort of auto-tune effect, pitch correction effect is coming through much more prominently here on the vocal. It's a bit off-putting for me. I feel, Tash is such a great vocalist. It feels weird to hear such a heavy amount of pitch correction on the vocal. So that's a bit off-putting. Although a lot of the other sounds within the composition are really nice. We get a very hard attacking piano sound coming in, sort of reinforcing the electric piano sound, which is pretty nice. Just adds a bit more of a bouncy percussion sort of feel. There's also some funky little synthesizer sounds coming in here and there, which just adds these little extra pops of texture and color here and there.
New York, New York. New York, New York. New York, New York. Anyway,
So we get a bit of a post-chorus section in there with the New York, New York lyric repeating over and over. We get that sort of really big, fat dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun synthesizer kind of riff mixed in with the piano there, and that was kind of cool. I like that. In the video clip, we do get, these now new images of New York scenery cut in between the performance aspects. But again, nothing too over the top. It's pretty simple one so far.
my goals is all just purple matter, but the thoughts just feel the same. And I got no distinction for the moments I've been missing. You won't even say my name. It's been years now, you feel me now. What the fuck is wrong with me? Is it curiosity? Can you try to help me be all the things I wanna see, but you don't seem to get with me. Even if it's ugly, I know you got me good. You got me good. You got me good. You got me good. Cover me in sugar.
I'm trying to determine what the message of this song might be. The chorus so far has seemed quite ambiguous. It's not really sort of wearing the message or pushing the message quite clearly, and the verses seem to be quite intentional. I'm kind of curious if maybe the idea of New York is more of a metaphor for a particular person in Tasha's life, or something along those lines. Because there does seem to be a bit of a personal connection, a personal story within the verses, but then that chorus kind of feels a bit disambiguous.
Get me through the night. Kisses sweet as candy, girl. You know I'll be alright. Jumping off the moon, baby, it'll be a time. Just the New York City skyline. Cover me in sugar just to get me through the night. Kisses sweet as candy, girl. You know I'll be just fine. Driving at 1,000 miles so I can see the light. Just the New York City skyline. New York, New York.
I will say that one tiny change of having that vocalization that starts off in the pre-chorus and then it develops and kind of explodes over the first half of the chorus is just really a really nice way of adding something a bit different, something a bit new over a section which we've already heard before. Always a really good technique, particularly in this kind of pop R&B stylized music where the choruses can always get a bit boring, a bit repetitive. So just having that tiny little element, that nice sort of vocalization, and Tash really kind of lets loose at certain points, which is cool.
New York, New York. New York, New York.
that's a nice little switch up we get there. We got that post-chorus, the New York, New York lyric repeating over and over again section, which then slowly eases into this instrumental break, bridging section. We get a lot of nice little interesting recording and producing tricks happening with sort of the reversing lyrics and the vocals, where there's a lot of that sort of thick, heavy layering, which is pretty cool. Gives an interesting sound and texture. We of course get the electric guitar now featuring, which obviously is a massive part of Tasha's repertoire, and it's kind of a bit of a low-key solo, but again, using that sort of reversing technique just adds something a little bit interesting, a little bit new, something different. Very cool. And then we get this big bass note leading us into whatever this next section's going to be.
Corner shop, two young kids, just a couple of fools, just a couple of tools, a couple of I love yous, a couple of I owe you too. You know I do, you know we do. So sad it's true, so sad it's blue, or maybe it's black, or maybe it's gonna keep a fucking heart attack. And you know that I know how it is. See my mother tried to warn us when we were just kids. See my father gone purple when I was just here, when I was so near. My life is so dear, my mind is so clear, my time is just real.
Cool. So we get a bit of a change up there, which isn't too jarring or too out of place. We get this bridge alternative verse where we have Tash doing more of a rap style vocal, which is pretty cool to hear. There's a lot going on within the vocals as well. You get the sort of main vocal, but then you get these sort of augmented, doubled vocals, pitch shifted, octave vocals, which add this sort of like air of uneasiness to the vocal, but they're sort of just in the background, adding this bit of texture and something interesting, something different. But that bass playing, that bass line throughout that whole section is super fat, big, really groovy. I like it.
At the corner shop, two young kids, just a couple of fools, just a couple of tools, a couple of I love yous, a couple of I owe you too. You know I do.
And then we end off there with a guitar solo taking us out to the outro. A pretty nice, simple guitar solo, a very classic Tash Sultana sounding guitar as well. Really heavy distortion, but with those reverb and delay effects on there, just creating this big atmospheric textural sound around the guitar. Really nice. The one thing I would say about the video clip, however, there maybe should be a photosensitive warning, because that we have that sort of flashing light effect. So that's probably my only bit of a gripe there, is, for someone who does have photosensitivity and without that sort of warning beforehand, that could have triggered something for them. Other than that, it's kind of a nice change up as well within the video. We get both in that sort of rapped section and the guitar solo, or two sort of just change ups within the video as well. We have Tash playing around a bit more with sort of the camera angle and also the sort of choreography between the emphasis on certain lyrics and when Tash is sort of moving in syncopation with the track and with the camera. And within that section as well, you also got a bit more of a robotic performance from Tash, which kind of works quite well with the vocal sound. It has a bit of a sort of robotic feel about it. And then the outro, we get a pretty cool little a cappella section where Tash is repeating some of the vocal lines from the previous rapped section. But again, now we really hear those vocal layering effects with the different pitch shifting effects as well, quite heavily in there, finishing everything off. I will say, as an Australian, it always feels a bit off, a bit weird, a bit foreign when I hear another Australian artist singing about American cities. I know Tash has been living in the States for quite a while now, so obviously the culture would have rubbed off on Tash by now and would be affecting her in certain ways, but it always just feels a bit off, or a bit unauthentic. There was a similar thing which happened a few years ago with an Australian band where they pretty much, I think they wrote a whole album about America, and yeah, listening to those songs from that album just felt so weird, so foreign and out of place for an Australian band to write like that. So I get a little bit of that here as well. But as I said previously, I do sort of feel that maybe the idea of New York is possibly a metaphor for something or someone else within Tash's life. So that's it from me in this one. Be sure to let me know down in the comments below if you guys think I missed anything, if this was a bad take, and your thoughts on New York by Tash Sultana. I'll absolutely love to see those. And if you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe to the channel, check out some of my other videos, and make sure you use the comments section as a space for community discussion. And you guys will see me in the next video.